All right, y'all, I'm back. Big F you to YouTube for messing up my previous video. But I'm back. And I'm going to finish my conversation. I'm going to get off here before I throw this computer out a window or something. Y'all have no idea how frustrated I am right now. Have no idea. No idea. But I'm going to go after this, make my point, smoke me a cigar, and then I'm going to catch up tomorrow. Y'all have no idea how frustrating this stuff makes me, that YouTube is being trashy. It's YouTube's fault. It's not my internet. It's not none of these god dog excuses that we make. It's YouTube's fault. And I'm gonna finish this statement and I'm gonna get off here because I'm about at my boiling point. I'm at my boiling point. So I'm gonna come back, finish my statement, go smoke me a cigar, and I'm gonna relax because I'm at my boiling point. I'm not only at my boiling point with YouTube. I'm at my boiling point with people, mostly haters. I'm at my boiling point. I mean, I'm over boiling. I had two people contact me, and let me tell you something. You better never do this if you watching this and you decide you want to call me and be stupid. You better never do that, because if I ever see you in person, you're going to be in trouble. That's all I'm going to say. If I ever see you in person and you disrespected me by calling my phone and all this stuff, when you see me in person, you're gonna pay for it. So don't be this person. Don't you ever, and this is addressed to whom it may concern, don't you ever call me and find my number somewhere and try to call me and lecture me about anything. Don't ever call me and act like some fool text me today. I don't know how they got my number. You're not for the cause, Brandon. I'm sorry. If I ever see you in person and you disrespect me, you're gonna have to eat those words that you say. Don't ever call my phone. You can post on social media. You message my phone, my personal phone, I'm gonna find you. I'm gonna find out who you are, and if I see you in person, you're gonna have to pay for wasting my time on my phone saying something stupid to me. I'm sick of people. The people like that. Y'all, all y'all is good. I'm sick of people like that. Call your phone, text. You don't know me. You don't know me. Don't get jiggy. Don't let the internet get you put in the hospital. Don't let it happen to you. Don't ever, if you're thinking about it, because when I find who you are, texting me and being crazy, you're gonna pay for it royally. And I'm gonna put it on Instagram. Anyway, I'm sick of YouTube, and I'm sick of people being disrespectful to other people. People need to understand this. And I'm at my wit's end with it. Nobody owes you anything in life. Nobody owes you anything. And don't disrespect people that you don't know. Don't disrespect people that you don't know. That's my point I'm trying to make. And somebody want to say, yeah, you threatening people. I don't care. I mean every word I say. Don't ever disrespect me. Don't ever try to call my phone and act like you know me. You wanna say something crazy to me. Because the person who texts me, I saw your business. I saw your business line. And I'll come up to your job. And we'll have this conversation at your job. I know exactly where you work. I'm gonna drive up there tomorrow, and I'm gonna ask you what you talking about on the text message. And we're gonna see if you still say that in person or will you not. Anyway, I'm gonna say this about this whole government and people believing that, this abortion thing, all of this stuff. All of it. I'm sick of us taking, inch by inch, them taking away our rights, taking away our morality. There is no excuse for a person to have an abortion. None. No excuse. You had no business laying up. Take responsibility. That's one thing that bothers me about people. Take responsibility for your actions. I don't know how we live in such a cush world that people think they can just do whatever they want to do and there's no consequences. There are consequences to your actions. There are consequences. You know, don't make excuses. Just take it. You laid up. You're pregnant now. You need to make the best of it. Going down to the clinic, you are making a poor decision, and you should be ashamed of yourself. Going to a clinic to have an abortion. You should be ashamed of yourself. I don't care what these liberals tell you, your mama and them tell you, the person, they lying to you. You don't lay up if you can't handle the consequences. We live in such a backward world because everybody's trying to, I want to curse. Everybody's trying to beat around the bush. No. It ain't cool to be sleeping around and doing all this stuff before you marry. It ain't cool. I don't care if you've done it. It ain't cool. Don't think it's cool. Nobody should ever accept that. You think it's fun. Only reason it bothers me and frustrates me because what are we teaching our young women in this country and our young boys? Yeah, it's cool. Just date and sleep with people that you date. And then you wonder why you're broken. You're a whole broken up person. You're broke. You're a broke person. Then you go and break other people. Then you wonder why you're single at 50 years old. But they didn't tell you this when you were younger. Go live your life. Have a good time. Date as much as you want. Well, you can date, but be intentional about what you're doing. Be intentional about what you're doing. Stop teaching these people that everything's okay. When you start to see people hate Christians and they hate religion because it's too restrictive. It's like, man, if people would follow half of the stuff the Bible say, we would have a better country. You have a better country. I had a son out of wedlock. Not one time did I think about an abortion. Not one time. And I wasn't even in control. But I said, I don't believe in that. I laid up and made him, then I need to take care of him. Whatever comes out of that you don't get a reset button in life. Whatever comes out of that is because I laid up and did it. And I need to take responsibility. This is what makes me mad because women, not y'all, because y'all perfect. All of y'all women on this, you're perfect. You ain't never done nothing wrong. You never will do nothing wrong. You're perfect. I'm talking about somebody on some other live stream. Women have been empowered to destroy a nation. And I'm just being honest. You walk around sleeping around with everything moving. But you think it's honorable. I'm just being me and living true to myself. You are creating a monster that's a residual monster. And I'm not getting the guys off the hook, but I'm just talking about the girl and I'm gonna transition to guys. You're going around, you're sleeping around, you're giving men a false sense of reality of how women's supposed to behave. So now you go out, you do that, you slut it up, and the mass amount of women, they're taught that slut it up, that's fine. Men can do it, but we can't do it, you slut it up. Men begin to devalue the work ethic it takes to get a woman. They devalue it because they don't have to work. They could come at your house for a weekend and end up staying, and now they living with you and you paying the bills, and they don't need to marry you. Why? Why put a burden on it when you could just have the cake and eat it too? Ain't no responsibility. She start doing something you don't like, you leave. It's that simple. So men are not marrying women anymore. See, when my wife do something I don't like, I'm just mad and I get over it. I can't just leave her. We're married. We got a family. We're married. We're legally bind. And we made a promise before God. So if I get mad at my wife or something she do that I don't like or there's something I want her to change, I don't get to just walk away from her. We gonna work on it and fix it together. And same with me. Some stuff she want me to change. She want me to act different or my attitude. She can't just walk away and leave me. We made a commitment. And nowadays, you don't need a commitment. You just need to be cool enough, have enough money, and you can have whatever you want. It's destroying America because women don't understand the value of themselves. So they create and create dead women. If you are walking around and you can't wake up in the morning without putting makeup on, you have been damaged. You have been damaged. If you are walking around and you don't want a person to see you without a face full of makeup, and then you like, how did that happen? Because other women have made you like that. And now you can't be true to yourself. And then before you know it, it's makeup, eyelashes, hair extensions, toenails, fingernails. I don't know. You keep going down the list. Powder, tan lines, tan lotions, everything. And what do men have to do? What do men have to do? They don't do anything. They don't do anything. Maybe get a haircut every now and again. But women have to do 45,000 things just to feel pretty and beautiful when they wake up in the morning. We've created a monster in our society. Now you got women online, they ain't even real. They're not real. I can see a fake booty from a mile away. See women with fake booties. They lips look like this. Walking around, look like Mike Tyson just popped them in them, and they think it's cute. Your lips don't supposed to look like that. Now you look retarded when you 50, 60 years old because you done got all this stuff done and you look stupid. Kim Kardashian, fake hips and all. What? And then what does that do? I'm telling you, it creates a generation of stupid men because now men think it's real. And now men think that's the standard. And now men are used to you wearing makeup. So now you can't see a man without makeup because he going to go to the woman who has makeup. It's all of this. And this may not be your live stream. Go find another live stream and come back another time. But it's all messed up. And every time I see people empower women by telling them you can sleep around and do whatever you want to do, they're breaking these women. And 40 years old come around, what do you have? You're 40, you're 45. What do you have to offer? Nothing. You was playing. You was having a good time. You was just living your best life. Now you by yourself. The man that you want is already married because he was intentional. The man that you want, not the man that's out there. The man that you want was intentional while you were just trying to feel it all out and see where it goes. He married because he was intentional. If you would have been intentional, you would have met an intentional man and you'd have got married, you'd be happy. Now, I'm not saying everybody that's 45 and without a man ain't happy. I'm just saying, I'm speaking to the people that if the shoe fit, wear it. Somebody said men don't care about makeup, women do. To a certain degree, I think women do wear makeup for other women. But however, you build this image that men are used to. Men see you without makeup, he's shocked. Dang, you look like, because some women don't even look like the same person without makeup on. They're not even the same people. They're not even the same human. Wake up in the morning, look like a scarecrow. How did this happen? It's not looking good. And that's why you go into the world today and it's so hard to find a good man. And as a man, it's so hard to find a good woman. Let me tell you something. This is what I learned, and I'm going to move on. This is what I learned. If you're in America today, if you have enough money as a man, you could get whatever woman you want, period. Period. Good ones and bad ones. They will come to you if you have enough money. That's just the way it is. Some people may say I'm lying. I'm not lying. You have money in stature, you can get any woman you want. Why is that, Mr. Tatum? Because when you first start, women don't want to be with you. When you're a young guy, you just moving on up, trying hard. You got good character, you're a humble man. You do everything right. The women don't want to be with you. They want to be with somebody that living a life and that they can take them to places they want to take them to. And those guys can get any woman, so they cheat on you and they treat you bad. Not all. They treat you bad. But the guy that you should have been with, that you should have saw the character in the man, because you knew he'd make it somewhere one day, you didn't want to be with him. And now you're single forever. Not every woman. It's just my thoughts. Just my thoughts. I see it happening all the time. When I was Police Officer Brandon Tatum, and I'm gonna say this, thank God I got married, when I became more popular, because it didn't faze me anymore. When I was little Police Officer Brandon Tatum, I know people who wouldn't give me a time of day. They wouldn't talk to me. They can do better than little Police Officer Brandon Tatum. Even though to be a cop, you have to be a humble person. You have to be a strong person. You got to be a leader. You have to be consistent, stable-minded. They don't want you. They don't want you, man. They don't want you. Then they see you on TV and they'll call you up. Hey, how you been? What you mean? What you mean how I been? I've been the same that I always been. Oh, just checking in. Checking in on you. Oh, you checking now. When you thought I wasn't gonna make it, you thought you didn't want to be. You wanted to be with somebody else. You know what I'm saying? You wouldn't even return my phone call. And now you think I can call you anytime. I'm just saying, people do that, and I'm not telling people not to go after what they want, but people know what I'm talking about, and I see it all the time. I know people with money. When I was broke, I know people with stature when I was broke, and they get. It's sad. It's sad because it'll be women you think are really wanting to do something in life, and they'll flock to the guy that's got all the money, fame. They'll flock to him. He got 5 girlfriends. They still. Oh, he want me. We just building a generation of just dead people, man. That's why divorce rates are so high. People are just dead. They don't have no substance. They dead upon arrival. They get married because they're supposed to. Then they get a divorce a year later. 50% of marriages end in divorce. What does that say about our society? We're a popcorn society. You want it now, you don't want to work for nothing. And I tell you, come hell or high water, me and my wife ain't getting no divorce. I don't understand how people don't see that. I guess if she was to, go off and be with another man, but I guess outside of those situations, growing apart, I mean, that's it happens, but that's your fault. We just grew apart. Well, your priorities weren't in your marriage. That's why you grew apart. Because your priority wasn't there. Your priority was a promotion. Your priority was money. Your priority was hanging out with your girlfriends that you used to go to high school with. Because they've been your friends from the very beginning. You can't let your girls down. Well, I'll tell you what, you ain't married to your friends, your girlfriends. You ain't married to them. You married to that man. That man should come first. And if you didn't want him to come first, you shouldn't have married him. Your husband comes first. Your wife comes first. Out of my family and anybody, my wife come before everybody. If I didn't want it to be that way, I wouldn't have married her. I'd have been single. But I married her because everybody else gonna go do their life. And me and that woman downstairs are married for life. We share a name. We share a bank account. We share everything. I don't share that with my daddy, my mama, my cousins. I don't share that with people. I share it with my wife. And my wife is my number one priority. That's it. That's the way it should be. So I don't know. I almost feel like I can get marriage advice. It's just common sense. It ain't even advice. It ain't like I'm going through some therapy. It's the common sense, man. People are so caught up in everything else. You could tell me what MMA fighter won 2 years ago, but you can't tell me, one thing that your wife liked to watch on TV. Or where'd you gonna do next? What is your 5-year plan? And I'm not trying to say I'm the greatest and I'm down at other people. In general, humanity, what are we doing with our lives? We know more about other people than we know about our own selves. Somebody could be quick to call me on the phone and say, or try to call me and find my number and send me a message. Brandon, I'm disappointed in you, whatever. What about your life? You disappointed in your life? You disappointed me. You need to be disappointed in your own life. I'm a person on the internet you ain't never met. But you on my page every day, disappointed. Well, that's why you ain't never gonna be nothing. Debbie, thanks so much for the super chat. Shelly, thanks so much for the super chat. Let's see, Didi, Tatum, thank you for helping open people's eyes, and I appreciate your service, brother. I got your 6 anytime. Appreciate it. Crystal, appreciate it. I just feel like tonight I just got to keep it real, and I'm gonna get off here soon. Let me see. My wife is I think she just texted me. Let me check these text messages. We got a couple tests. I'll wait till after the handle it, but that's all I'm saying. I want people to. Let me talk about this political thing real quick. You know how bad I want to just get out of politics altogether and never talk about it again? Because I feel like people on our side, not y'all, because y'all perfect. People on our side are just as dumb as people on the left. They get too caught up in this. Let me give you a perfect example while I got 3,300 people watching. There's a guy here in Phoenix. I think his name is Jason. He get arrested at a Chandler school. And let me tell you why I do not support what he did. I don't support him at all. If y'all heard the situation, they're trying to go viral. I don't support that. The guy was acting like a complete tool. You don't act like that. Let me give you an example, the tale of two people. Two people. One person is trying to be famous, video recording himself, and I met the guy before. I mean, I don't know him personally. I took a picture with him, trying to be recording himself being a complete a-hole, arguing with the police officers, arguing with the staff. Called James T. Harris, which is one of my good friends, said that he up here just for political stunt. Trying to trash on Charlie Kirk, talking down on Charlie Kirk like, oh, he's just a celebrity. He just show up to show up. You video recording this whole thing, being a complete tool. He goes to the front, antagonizing. Everybody should be in. You're breaking the Constitution. Dummy. It makes me mad because I feel like conservatives are stupid too. Dummy. Just like these criminals, you can't fight a civil rights claim on the side of the road when you're getting arrested. Brother, you're not going to fight a constitutional battle at a high school. What you want the cops to say? Well, you know what? According to the Constitution, we just let you in here and do whatever you want to do. The school has rights to make up rules and regulation. If you feel like that the school is violating your constitutional rights, you go about the avenues in which to complain or sue the school district. Instead, you're talking bad about the police. The police officers are at the school to preserve the peace. They're not there to have a constitutional hearing with you. But you know, these people who want to be famous, who want to go viral because I got arrested, they go out and poo the bed. Dummy McDum-Dum, and that's my opinion, you don't have to like it. Dummy McDum-Dum gets arrested. What did he accomplish? He went to the Chandler school. After he got arrested, did they let the people in? Oh, no. Did he go in and tell the people inside that they were wrong for what they were doing? No. He didn't make it inside. They didn't let anybody in. He went to jail. He got arrested. What did you accomplish? Now let's go. Charlie Kirk. Charlie Kirk was at the same place. Charlie Kirk probably had the same sentiment that it was unconstitutional for them not to let everybody into that open meeting. But you know what Charlie Kirk did? Charlie Kirk did what good, strong, smart American would do. Charlie Kirk waited his turn, put his name on the list, went into the venue, ripped the butthole of these people in there being shady, got it on video, put it out on social media. Now it's viral. Hundreds of thousands, even millions of people saw the encounter that Charlie had with the school board. And it brings attention to the subject matter here in Arizona. Now, I didn't go because I didn't know it was going on. I got a lot of other stuff I'm doing. However, I think it is good that Charlie Kirk shows up. I think it's good that James T. Harris shows up, even if he's showing up just to say hi and bye, because James T. Harris has a prominent radio show that he can then talk about these things on the radio. But all these people who want to be the next big thing, I'm a real patriot. These other people aren't patriots. This dude said that Charlie Kirk acted as if Charlie Kirk wasn't a patriot. Do you understand that Charlie Kirk is 50 times more brilliant than this other guy is? Charlie Kirk has a nonprofit organization that he started when he was like 18, 19 that has 1,200 chapters all over the country. Probably the greatest, most individual nonprofit to rescue America from these flaming, raging leftists on campus. Having a little Patriot Party Act in Arizona has nowhere near what Charlie Kirk has been able to accomplish. And Charlie Kirk, before he started the Turning Point thing, he helped Donald Trump get elected. People probably don't know that. Grassroots activism with Donald Trump, Trump Jr., him, blasting on the scene with Turning Point, employing hundreds of people in the state of Arizona, brought the headquarters to Arizona. The dude speaks in churches all over the country. And you get at an event where you think you big and bad, and you want to talk and try to downplay what Charlie Kirk has done. James T. Harris was one of the reasons I became conservative. I used to listen to the James T. Harris conservative circus when I was a cop and I was a liberal. And I hated James T. And then over time, I began to appreciate the things that James T. Harris was saying. Every day he's on the radio, speaking his voice, waking people up. But you got these people out here walking around like they stuff don't stink. You may not like Charlie Kirk personally or whatever. Professionally, nobody, absolutely nobody can say that kid isn't one of the most brilliant people in America. Smartest and most brilliant kid in America. And I call him a kid because he's 6 years younger than me. But you got the guy, Patriot Party of Arizona. Dude, you can celebrate what you do and stand up for what's right without downing other people that's in the same movement doing better than you. If I would have went to that event and the dude wasn't being a complete tool, I would have said, hey, brother, you have your part. I do my thing. We all do our own thing. We don't all have to be in the same lane. You hear YouTube go again. We don't all have to be in the same lane. You can go down your path and be in your lane and do what you think is right. And another person can go down their path and be in their lane and do what they think is right. Let me get these super chats before this thing just completely cut off. Hey, Brandon, just watched us say that thinking of following you for a while. Political parties don't matter. They only think that matters is what's in your heart. I hate politics too. I'm so sick of this stuff. Thank you for all you do. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Miss Lady Bob, thank you so much. I appreciate you as well. YouTube is having problems. It's intentional. It's intentional. We should be able to sue them for the money lost at their behest. Anyway, I'm gonna finish my statement and then I'm off. I'm gonna finish the statement. Don't be a tool. Don't be a tool. You treat people with respect. You're getting on the camera and talking bad about James T, talking bad about Charlie Kirk for the most part, and acting out, and everybody, you didn't accomplish anything. Maybe you accomplished what you want to accomplish by going viral. You didn't accomplish anything. You didn't accomplish anything. You got to work smarter, not harder. If you have a problem with a school's constitutionality, then you sue the school district for violating the Constitution, which have to be presented in some level of a court. It's not done by municipal police officers. They can't do nothing to you. Even if a police officer violates your constitutional rights, what are you going to do? You got to then go through the proper channels to sue them. You don't argue constitutionality while you in it unless you're ready to go all the way. You don't argue constitutionality face to face with a police officer. That's not, I don't even know if that's a word, but you know what I'm saying. And then the same people that's saying, well, they violating our constitutional rights. The police officers are implicit. They're involved in this. Screw the police. You say you're supposed to protect and serve, are the same people that tell all these black people that resist arrest and believe that the arrest is unjustified, that fight the cops and try to break through a unlawful arrest, and they get shot, and you go, see, that's what you get. Courtside justice. Well, dude, you're doing the same thing. You want them to resolve a constitutional issue right there on the spot, and you know they're not going to do that. But the goal is to go viral and be the biggest name. I got arrested at that's the difference. I got arrested at the school board meeting, or I came and my voice was heard. That's the difference between the two people and their motives. It's two motives. I got arrested. Everybody, it's so wrong. It's a hit job. A guy that I know and I respect, I like the guy, but he sent me a message saying that this guy in Arizona, it was a political hit. No, it's not. The police officers aren't involved in Chandler Police Department isn't involved in a political job. If he wasn't out there acting up after they told him to stop 100 times, they tell him to back up, tell him to stop. The lady asked him to leave the property. Let me tell y'all something about public property. You still can be disorderly on public property. A school teacher, if you are disorderly, can ask you to leave the property because you're being disorderly. And therefore, if you refuse to leave, you are now trespassing. That's the law. But I'm fighting for the Patriots. It's like, y'all got to stop being overzealous. Be smart and strategic about what you're doing. Be smart and strategic about what you're doing. And you know, people are going to be upset with me because I don't support that. I don't support that, man. I support the police officers. Your constitutional issues. And then somebody said, well, they didn't read him his Miranda rights. Well, they don't have to read you Miranda rights when you get arrested. They don't have to read you Miranda rights. They don't have to. Only time a police officer has to read you your Miranda rights is when you're being detained and questioned, not arrested. If they got enough probable cause to arrest you, they can arrest you and never look back. They don't even have to talk to you. They got body-worn camera. They got witness testimony. They don't need to talk to you. They can just arrest you with probable cause. What is your probable cause statement? I witnessed this. Person A, person B, person C witnessed this. Officer A, B, and C both heard person A say, please get off the property. Suspect refused to get off the property after a reasonable request to do so, which is written in the statute in Arizona. And we proceeded to arrest the individual after he was asked to leave the property, after we witnessed him being disorderly. And officers are saying, leave the property, leave the property. How do you win, Brandon? How do you win? All you got to do is be smart. If I go to a school board meeting, my strategy is not to get arrested and kicked out of the meeting. My strategy is to go and let my voice be heard, get that to be on the internet, as well as me making a statement directly to them, holding them accountable. But you get that your voice being heard at a school board meeting go viral, not you getting arrested outside after you didn't even do nothing. Once that goes viral, it start waking people up and they're getting more and more attention to what's going on. If it wasn't for Charlie Kirk, I wouldn't have really known what actually happened there. But I saw Charlie Kirk and I said, you know what? I need to get with Charlie Kirk and say, hey, next time they have an event like that, if there's something that I can do to help the cause, then I want to join in and help the cause. I don't need to get there and yell at somebody at a school board meeting. I don't have to do that. That's not my thing. I'm not going to just talk the talk. I mean, unless it can be productive. If my kid went to that school, it'd be different because right now it's awareness. How do we get them more aware of what is actually going on? And so those are the things that I think we need to understand. And some of these people really make me mad when they try to diss law enforcement. When you're the one breaking the law. When I was a cop, I show up. We are there to make sure nobody get hurt. That's all we're there for. We're not here to argue about what the school board is doing. We're not here to make a constitutional decision on what the school board is doing. See, this is what people don't understand. There's processes that lead to police doing actions. You need to address the processes. You don't need to address the police officer. You need to address the process. In many of these states, we have given the power to unilaterally make decisions. We've given the governor power to unilaterally make decisions. The governor. And so if the governor decides that he is going to make an executive decision to mandate masks in his state, the governor has that power that we've afforded to him. We should never gave him the power. We need to revoke the power. We need to revoke the governor if you have a problem. Because if you give him the power, you let him be in power, he has the power to instruct the state on what to enforce. Now, the departments can say, we're not going to enforce that. But that's the governor. That's like the president of your state. You probably want to cooperate with the governor. The governor has the right to tell a local police department what they should and shouldn't do. The governor governs the mayors. The mayor listens to the governor. The mayor will then descend a decision on the people, which we gave them power to do. Police officers may not agree with going to your party and telling you everybody needs to wear a mask. However, you're not going to pay pension to that police officer that's been working 25 years. And at the end of the day, it's not like you're going to an internment camp. But they've been working 25 years and you expect them to get fired because you gave rights to the mayor and the governor to make these unilateral decisions. Now, the sheriff don't have to do it. The sheriff is another elected official that has, so in many cases, just as much power as any other elected official in the state. So you have a county sheriff that can say, you know what, we're not going to do that. Municipal police, they have to do what the mayor, the city manager, tells the city council, that then tells the chief. And if the chief don't do it, they fire the chief. That's how that works. And some of these chiefs, 40 years on the police department, about to get a pension. You think the chief going to say, well, no, the chief would encourage you, recall the mayor, recall the governor if you got a problem. Now, if it's something that's going to directly inflict bodily injury on you, then I'm assuming that cops wouldn't do that. Wearing a mask and upholding masks mandates on government property, that's not unconstitutional. Unless you want to argue that it's unconstitutional that a governor has unilateral power to do X, Y, Z, which could be in your state constitution. You should know that, and then you can enforce that. But the police officers it don't go that far. It's like if there's any crowd that's gathering on a government facility, or they're gathering at so and so and so and so, then you recall the governor then. And I know it's not as easy as said and done, but your first thought shouldn't be mad at the police officer. It's way deeper than that. It's like somebody saying that marijuana should be legal, and it's illegal. And a police officer arrests somebody for possession of marijuana, and they go, see, that's not right. I have a right. Constitutionally, this is not right. It's like, well, it's really not the police officer's fault that the law says that marijuana is illegal. So why are you mad at the police officer? You should be mad at the legislators. You should be mad at the people who signed the law into an effect. You can't be mad at law on the books. The police officer is supposed to enforce the laws that are on the books. And also executive mandates. Now, if it's one you don't like, you cool with that. If there was an executive order to say that municipal police have a right to round up illegal aliens and take them out of the city or take them to Border Patrol, people would be fine with that unilateral decision that's made and wouldn't care nothing about the processes, and illegals would get mad at the police, but the people wouldn't. But when they doing something you don't like, you get mad at them. So I'd say take voting seriously so you can vote these people out, recall your governor, make a petition to do it if that's in your state constitution. I don't know how that works. I think it's state by state whether the process in recalling your governor. Those are the things you do. There's a gubernatorial race that comes up. You better participate in it. Do all you can to help good people get elected. Don't sit around crying, didn't even vote, and then you mad what the governor is doing. So that's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. I'm finna get up out of here. Because look like the channel finna get ready to get hit again. All right, let's see. I know this is a bit off subject, but I've been working on family court reform for years, and the police are always on board, but we can't seem to get anywhere. Petitions, bills, etc. I don't know anymore. Well, yeah, I don't know what exactly you're doing. I'm not sure what reform, and I'm not sure what the reform is. It just kind of depends on what the reform is. But I don't know. Email me. connect@theofficertatum.com. My wife said the police officers just do whatever they feel. People who still pay their taxes while complaining about how unconstitutional they are. Baby, I don't understand that comment. Let's see. Look, some idiot. Somebody called me. Let me say this and I'm going to get out. Some fool called me on my phone. I don't know how they got my number. Telling me, let me tell you how, I don't know if this must be a real person behind this comment, but this has happened to me a lot from people in the black community. This is why it's very shocking to me. And I often wonder, are people is the black community cursed to a certain degree? It really makes me wonder. I don't know why it seems that black people, at least in an approach to me, are so ignorant. My wife said, you and Bieber friends now. Girl, the ignorance that come from black people towards me is just mind-blowing. Some idiot found my number somewhere and texted me and called me while I'm at the UFC fight. Hey, you said that black people didn't get abused in slavery. I don't understand how people are so dumb, man. I'd never in my life said nothing stupid like that. I said not every slave. And if you're a person that too dumb to understand slavery? Why do black people try to fight you over stuff they have no idea about? Slavery was a very diverse thing. It was diverse. Every slave wasn't a field slave in the field getting tobied, Kunta Kinte'd. That wasn't every slave. That wasn't the only form of slavery in America. Not every slave was in the field. They had slaves that were in the house. Typically, the slave in the house, they treated way better than the ones outside. Some plantations did not treat their slaves bad. They let them. I took Africana studies in college. I read this history with my own eyes. The documented history of slavery. Some slave owners, they treated their slaves with respect. They let them live in a house. Some of them, they let them live in the house, and they would just work. They owned them, but they would go work. They would come back in the house. They would eat with the family. They were like family. Some people treated their slaves like that. Some people treated their slaves horribly. They made them sleep outside. They raped them. But not every slave, every person that owned slaves, all did the same thing. They all were the type of slave. There were people that was in the city as slaves and people that were in the field as slaves. Different types of slavery. There's plenty documented stories of people who were in slavery who were not treated poorly. Some people loved the people that they bought. They loved them. They loved their slaves. It was the way life was back then. But some people did love their slaves. And then some people who may or may not have abused their slaves. I can't give you every scenario, but there are some people that released their slaves. After they worked for so many years, they released them. Some people allowed their slaves to purchase their freedom, meaning that they paid them to work and they worked up enough money to purchase their freedom. Harriet Tubman, let me give you an example. Harriet Tubman's husband was a free black man. He was free. He was not a slave. He was a free black man. Harriet was married. She was married to a man who was free. He was not a slave. He had the freedom to come and go wherever he pleased, for the most part. You know, of course, there's some restrictions there. The night that Harriet Tubman left to begin the journey of the Underground Railroad, she was asleep in the bed with her husband, who was a free black man, who told her not to do it. He thought it was a bad idea for her to go and escape and try to start the Underground Railroad, which I don't think it was the Underground Railroad at the time. Later, subsequently, it was called the Underground Railroad. But he told her not to do it. He didn't think it was a good idea. She was married to him. Her family members were free. I think her mom and her sister, somebody. I gotta reread it, but some of her family members were also free black people. Harriet Tubman worked for money. She worked places for money. Like, she wasn't just working in the field, getting beat every day. She did work for money. And she made money. And she lived with her husband in a little house. She was still legally owned by a slave owner, which he had control over. But she lived in I don't know if it was attached to the slave master's house or not, but she lived in a little quarters with her husband where they slept in the bed, I'm presuming every night until she left. But dumb, ignorant black people, and I say black people because these are the only people that come at me like this. The only people that hit me up in the inbox, that message me, that cuss me out, call me the N-word, it's just black people. I've yet to have a white person say anything negative or derogatory to me in a message, in an inbox. Nothing but black people. Nothing but black people. And it's crazy to me. Sad. Sad. It's sad. But I think I'm done person gonna say, Brandon, bro, why did you say that slaves wasn't treated poorly? It's like, cursed. Cursed. And you know what? If you want to be ignorant like that, I'm glad that you cursed. I hope you get every bit of what's coming to you. If you can't even be sane enough to argue with a person on the merits of their argument, it's at least 3 or 4 people that I consistently see in my comments that are just dumb, dead brain black people. It's sad. It's sad. I know it does look like every time I get over 3,000 people watching, somehow there's an interruption. It's sad. It's I don't know. I'm like confused that somebody would just say, you said that black people weren't treated the slaves weren't treated poorly. How if you've watched the video to get to the part where I said that slaves weren't treated poorly, quote unquote, then I know that you heard me say that not all slaves were treated poorly. They weren't all treated poorly. There were slaves who were treated miserably, horribly, beat to death, raped, whatever. There were some that were not. And there were slaves, and I said it in the video, there were slaves who purchased their freedom. And then there were slaves who bought other black people as slaves. I mean, people who weren't slaves, who were black, who bought black people as slaves. Some of them bought their family members as slaves. And then, of course, they weren't treated like slaves. Some people actually bought black people to be slaves. Dumb, mindless black people who are cursed. These people that they're cursed. If you want to make a historical argument about an argument that I've made, that makes sense. But somebody found my number to call me at the UFC fight and called me 100 times after that. I had to block the person just to tell me and argue with me about something I didn't say. And I could go live on Instagram. You're gonna see 5 or 6 people in there saying, "You said Emmett Till, it was Emmett Till's fault. You said Emmett Till was wrong. You justify Emmett Till." It's like, now, if you heard me even say anything about Emmett Till, then your ashy behind heard me say from the very beginning of me saying anything about Emmett Till that it was horrible what happened to Emmett Till. Before I ever mention the story, I say it's horrible what happened to Emmett Till. They beat him. They put barbed wire around his neck. It was unimaginable what they did to Emmett Till. However, why do people try to lie and get hung up on whether or not he whistled at the woman or not? So people begin to be disingenuous because it doesn't matter if he whistled at the woman or not. They shouldn't have done him like that. Now, people don't want to talk about the truth. They want to make up this whole scenario to then repeat lies in the future. It was not clear, if you look at the totality of circumstances, if he in fact whistled at the woman or made a pass at the woman or said something that was offensive to the woman. It's not clear. Of course, there's people that said he didn't do nothing. He was just walking down the street. He was just in the store, and she just randomly saw a black boy in the store and just randomly said he said something he didn't say and got him killed. That's not how it happened. Allegedly, he said something to her. She reported he said something to her. It wouldn't have been odd for Emmett Till to say something to her of that nature, because where Emmett Till was from, it was not Jim Crow, racist, segregated South. It was in a place similar to how we live today, which black and white people interact all the time. In the South, you can't just say stuff to white people like that if you black, because people will come after you. And apparently they came after him. But what they don't want to say is that his uncle, I believe it was his uncle, allowed the mob to take him. They didn't just see him at the corner store, get him up and kill him. His uncle, I believe, allowed them to take him. He didn't put up a fight. Now, to his defense, they all knew each other. The men that came to get Emmett knew his uncle. They knew each other. All they said was, we're going to go rough him up a little bit for what he said to the white woman, and we'll bring him back. They didn't just rough him up and bring him back. They killed him brutally, murdered him. His mama opened his casket up. But people sit and they can't be honest about the fact that it was controversial. And it's not clear if he said something to the girl or not. But they run in one direction and said, he said something to her. He didn't say nothing to her. It's not clear. So say that it's unclear if Emmett Till said something to the woman or not. However, it's unjustified what they did to him. And they going to find their way when they meet Jesus if they didn't repent for that. But my whole argument in that speech or that talk was that why can't people be honest about what happened? The race riots of, I think it was 1920 or something like that. I think I got my dates right. Of the Tulsa race riots. People can't be honest about what happened. They got to frame it as if the black man was innocent and these white men just beat down the poor black people. Just like Emmett Till. Emmett Till didn't do nothing. They framed him. They murdered him for no reason. They don't add in that it's controversial whether or not he actually said something inappropriate to the young lady. Of course, later in life, she said, no, he didn't say that. 90 years, you know what I'm saying? Your whole life, you may, oh, now, during the height of BLM, you retracted. Okay. But it's unclear if he said something that could have legitimately sparked something, but his death was wrong. Can't say that. The elevator situation, that sounds like the dumbest excuse ever, is that the man slipped and fell, 1921, that he slipped and fell and somehow bumped into the girl or grabbed her as he's falling. She lets out a scream, and they thought he raped her, and they framed him, and the white people just came and burned down the whole city. Like, I don't know who was right or wrong in that situation. I know that a lot of black people were displaced, and black people and white people died. I don't know who started it. All I do know is that it's controversial what happened in the elevator. Now, nobody knows what happened but the two people that were on the elevator. However, the young lady didn't want to press charges against her, but supposedly a store owner that was on the first floor heard the screaming, her garment was ripped, and he came running from the elevator, fleeing the area. That could have been a whole lie. However, the probability of being in a complete lie is very suspect to me. Black people showed up in his defense, white people showed up in her defense, or to challenge the black people. A shot rang out. 10 white people died, 2 black people died initially. The initial conflict, 10 white, 2 black. Nobody know who fired the first shot. So at this time, we can't frame who started it. Because if the black man did rape the girl, white mob comes, black mob comes, and the black man shoots a white man first, to me, that sounds like the black people started it. 10 white people were killed, only 2 black people were killed. Seems like if the interaction stopped there, if the guy was guilty, the black people started this. They started it. If the roles were reversed and the white person shot, then they started it. But at this point, we have no idea who shot the first shot that resulted in 10 white people being killed and only 2 black initially. And I don't sit here and blame white people for their response. I wouldn't blame black people for their response. If in this moment a white man was accused of raping a black woman on an elevator, they arrest the white man, and black people showed up like they do today for criminals, not even an innocent person. Black people showed up in force saying justice needs to be served. White people showed up in force saying justice needs to be served. And just say a white person shot into the crowd of black people and killed 10 black, 2 white, and a mob of black people showed up in that community and burned that mud down. Would you sit here and say, poor white people? And nobody would say that. They'll be like, see, they should have been playing with them black people. The black people stood up and they fought for what was right. The white men shot them first, and so they retaliated, and that's what they get. If it was black people doing it to white people, that's what they would say. And the roles are reversed. Now people are, it's the massacre of 1921. It's like there was a lot of people dying, but the way they frame it is disingenuous. There was a lot of black people that died. Many got displaced. It was a horrible thing that happened in that city. Horrible. I don't know who started it. I don't know if the boy raped her or not. I don't know who shot the first shot, and nobody really do. So you don't have to frame it as a massacre of black people. Why don't you just frame it as a race war, which is what it was for decades until more recently when they called it the Tulsa Massacre. A massacre suggests as if one side was illegitimately murdering the other side versus 2 people clashing and one side getting the best of the other side. I mean, that's more like what it was than a race massacre. How do you know this, Brandon Tatum? Well, I just did simple research of what happened. And they go, 300 black people died. Well, that's not verified. The numbers that I saw was possibly between 175 and 300. And then confirmed, it was like 36 people were confirmed. That was a confirmed number. Other numbers are speculative. It's not confirmed. White or black, it's not confirmed. But we frame it one-sided to push an agenda of racism in America against black people. Like, that's my problem. Just tell the truth and we could be done with it. The Central Park 5. Then they brought Donald Trump in it. First of all, Donald Trump had nothing to do with the Central Park 5. No, absolutely nothing. He made a few comments about the situation, but that's it. However, Central Park 5, to me, that sounded like a pretty significant thing for little kids to be targeted in a park for doing nothing. So I said, let me look up what actually happened with the Central Park 5. Let's see what happened with the Central Park 5. Thought I saw somebody say something slick in the comment section. Anyway, let me skip over that because I don't want to get gangsta on here. And I look up the research Central Park 5, and I looked at a documentary about it. I read commentary about it. I listened to the confession tapes with it on YouTube. The Central Park 5 confession tapes are on the YouTube, unobstructed. 30, 40 minutes of videos that you got to watch. And I said, wait a minute. This is not at all what I thought happened. I'm watching the confessions, and these young boys are confessing, unobstructed, confessing to crimes, confessing. And it absolutely blew my mind. It blew my mind. Let's see. It absolutely blew my mind. And I said, wait a minute. These weren't little kids. They weren't being interrogated without representation. They all had representation, adult representation, I think except one. And then when you listen to their confession tapes, they all confess that the other person did it. And some of them confess that I touched her legs. I held her down, but I didn't do nothing. I was on top of her. I was acting like I pulled my pants down. I was acting like I was doing something, but I really didn't do nothing. And I only did it because if you listen to their confessions, they are all pretty much confessing to doing something to this young lady. And on record, when they first caught, it was a ton of kids in the park. The only way they got to the 5 was because they arrested a whole bunch of kids, and I think some of them actually wasn't even arrested. They ended up following up and arresting them because they had a bunch of kids that were knocking people out in the park, beating people unconscious, almost killing people, all these rowdy kids. They riled them up, and all of them pointed towards these 5 young men that were the ones doing all the crime. They said, these people were doing it. All of the witnesses pretty much said that these 5 boys were the ones beating people unconscious. I mean, multiple witnesses. They ended up releasing some at the day, but they end up bringing them back in because they were a part of the investigation through witness statements. And when they first arrested a few of them, they made what they call spontaneous utterances, meaning that they said, I didn't rape her. I didn't do nothing to that girl. At this point, the police officers had no idea who he was talking about. They didn't even know the girl was half dead, had been raped, bloodied, laying up under a tree somewhere. The cops had not even known that. So when some of these boys, at least 2 of them from the Central Park 5, made reference to a girl that the cops didn't even know about yet, you can't say that they were coerced because they knew information that the cops didn't know. But they were coerced, and they ended up getting off, but getting off doesn't mean you didn't do it. Did O.J. Simpson do it? Yeah, he probably did it. He was able to beat the justice system. It happens. The DNA was inconclusive. It wasn't that there was no DNA. There was clear DNA on the girl, but it was inconclusive. How does it become inconclusive, Mr. Tatum? Well, DNA evidence at the time was very new in its inception, so it wasn't as solid as DNA sampling now. Also, medical protection and treatment comes before DNA evidence extraction. So the young girl was beaten, bruised, bloodied. They take her to the hospital. They have to wipe her off. They have to see if they assess any wounds. They have to put IVs in her. They have to do all of this stuff that destroys tons of evidence before they allow the police officer to do their investigation. And through the investigation, they found DNA that was inconclusive. Now, at the end of the day, they ended up, somebody confessed in jail after I don't know how many years. And they was able to find that guy's DNA on a sock that was next to the area. And because of their DNA, the inconclusive DNA, his confession, they ended up letting the guys out of jail. The funny thing is that one of the guys from the Central Park 5, I think, never went to jail. So it was only 4 of them that actually went to jail. One of the guys from the Central Park 5 didn't even go to jail. He never went to jail. And it's crazy. You watch the Central Park 5 documentary, and they got little kids playing the scenario. Little kids. And you go watch the interview of these boys from the Central Park 5. You go watch the actual interrogation interviews. They weren't little bitty kids. So then you say, why they lying? Why they lying? You don't have to lie. There's probably plenty of situations where black people were being railroaded. But this ain't one of them. Even the black police officer that was on the case said that they were guilty. He knew they were guilty. So you can't say it's a race thing. Even a black cop believed that they were guilty. Why do we gotta lie? Why do we have to lie? Why do we have to lie about slavery? Why do we have to lie about slavery? Why? Why can't it was bad enough with the truth? Why do we need to embellish? Made up scenarios. Why? You know, I think the Tulsa race war was bad enough. I don't care how many people died. It was horrible. It was a bad situation. Unnecessary bad situation. You can admit to that without embellishing. Central Park 5 was a bad situation for the girl, the young lady. Nobody cares about justice for her. I guess she don't count. She was in a coma. She was in a coma for like a month or something crazy. Nobody cares about her life, but the Central Park 5 boys were done wrong. Nobody cared about her justice. But that was a bad situation. Clearly the guys were wrong. I think they were all guilty. However, why do we need to embellish? Michael Brown did not have his hands up when he was shot. I think it's incredibly sad that a 18-year-old boy gets killed by the police for whatever reason, justified or not. That's bad enough. An 18-year-old boy feel the need to fight a cop for a gun and get killed. It's horrible. It should have never happened. Why do we got to embellish though? Hands up, don't shoot. Never happened. Why do you got to embellish? That's why every time a black person tell you that they've experienced racism, don't believe them. They have to prove beyond a reasonable doubt that happened to them, in my opinion. Or I'm just like, whatever, at this point. Now, if you're 70, 80 years old, maybe. If you've been born, if you in your 30s and 40s right now, nah. Show me proof. Show me proof that the cop did you like that. Show me proof that that man called you an N-word. Show me proof. Because people lie all the time. They just lie and embellish because they don't want to be living a lie. They want to be a part of this movement. Women do the same thing with rape. They do the same thing with rape. Women do the same thing with rape. They embellish these scenarios. They do the same thing with relationships. Every time a woman is single, her last relationship was abusive. Every man is abusive. No, they're not. No, they're not. Every relationship is abusive. Everybody say their ex was abusive. Some of them were. Most of them weren't. It was emotionally abusive. Because you ain't say physical because you ain't got no record in the man beating you. He was emotionally abusive. What does that mean? What do you mean emotionally abusive? He was mean to you? He didn't smile at you the right way? That's emotionally abusive. Women be just making this stuff up. Not all, but I believe that most do. Because I know some guys that women say, oh, he was emotionally abusive. It's like, that guy wasn't emotionally abusive. Every woman that I've ever dated, their ex was emotionally abusive. They got to have an abusive relationship. It was never their fault. Never their fault. They can't say nothing. It was never their fault. It was always an abusive relationship. Every woman except one woman. I wasn't dating her, but we were kind of talking, and she admitted that she cheated on her husband, which wasn't a good starting point with me. But she admitted that she cheated on her husband, and she admitted that was how her relationship fell apart. You ask men about their relationship with women, they'll say, "Oh, it just didn't work out." They don't say that the woman was mentally was abusive. They don't say that. They tell the truth. Ah, man, I cheated. Ah, man, we grew apart. You talk to women, they all abusive. Y'all don't believe me. Y'all don't believe me. I almost want to go on. I want to go on campus. Just take a tape recorder. A camcorder, whatever you want to call it. Video, iPhone, and just interview young women and say, hey, are you single? And they go, yeah, I'm single. Okay, tell us about your last relationship. Why y'all didn't work out? Well, it was an abusive relationship. I'm telling y'all, I can bet you $1,000. I can go on campus right now to a college campus because that's where the most dating and stuff go on. And I guarantee you 99% of the women that I interviewed will say abusive relationship. And probably 2% of them were really in an abusive relationship. The rest of them, they just didn't like their boyfriend, or they wanted to date Joe Schmo instead of their boyfriend, and then everything he did irritated them, so there was an abusive relationship. Back to the embellishment of black interactions. It's embellished. I went to the university campus, interviewed 2 people from Nigeria. One girl from Nigeria, going through America, experiencing life like a normal person. But the dumb black Americans convinced her that no, these experiences that you experienced that are normal, they were actually racist. They were actually racist. The two Africans that I spoke to, I actually spoke to 3, I think maybe 2 or 3. They all said the same thing. They said, I never heard of racism. I had no idea about racism when I came to America. Never heard of it. I said, have you experienced racism? No, I haven't. But I was told that I did, but I didn't know it. And what happened was a black African person came to America and someone disagreed with them because they disagreed with them. And a black person, a dumb black American, came and said, well, no, that was racist. Well, this is racism. Just so you know, like, white people don't really like you like that in America. And there's a war between black and white people. And then therefore the African person is looking at this in a different lens. That's completely false. The girl said, I said, what racism has you experienced? What racism has you experienced? And she go, well, I was walking down the street and a cop was following me. And people were looking out their window at me when I was walking down the street. It's like, how is that racist? A cop is following you, people looking at the street. How do you figure that's a racist? People can't look at you? How do you know it's because of your race? Unverified doesn't make it racist. You can't verify that. How many people looked at you in the window? One person? Oh, okay. A person looked at the cop, probably following you because maybe they thought you was a suspect in something. Maybe you look familiar. Maybe they just driving down the street behind you, not even paying no attention to you. And somebody see the cop behind you and look out the window at you to see what's going on. And now that became a racial encounter. To an African, it's not racist. To a black American, that's racist. Somebody said they bet me $1,000 that most men say that the woman that they dated was crazy. You know, I would say this. I think I don't say this because men are dirty dogs. Men are dirty dogs. I date a lot of them are. So I'm not gonna stand up for the men, but I can say that it's more likely that the woman was crazy than the man was abusive. That's just my opinion. I could be biased because I'm a man. Because I personally know men that have dated crazy women that are absolutely crazy. I've dated crazy women. Now, all of my relationships didn't end because a woman was crazy. Some of it was just, it's not my type. You know, we didn't work out. Like 99% of my relationships with other women were that I didn't see a future with these women. And it wasn't, I just didn't see a future with them, and they weren't really my type. And after dating and getting to know them, I just couldn't see a future with them. And it was very clearly articulated. I never cheated on nobody and did all of that stuff. I just articulated that I don't see a future, and I think we should, we dated, we tried it out. I'm not the man for you. That's just what it was. And I had one person that was a complete lunatic. But that's only one. I had a couple that was lunatikish, but one in particular is a complete lunatic. But that's one out of, I don't know how many women I've dated in my dating life before I got married. But I wouldn't say crazy. But, see, even my wife, she said, the last guy she dated was a narcissist. That's not abusive. It's like that's not abusive. The guy's a narcissist in a lane, clearly. But that's not abusive. It's like a trend for women to say I was in an abusive relationship. It's a trend. You know, it's a trend. It's not like an actual happening. It's more of a trend than anything. It's like a default. Because what that does is it makes me as a woman, make her seem normal and make the other guy seem like, oh, poor sweet. Why would anybody abuse you? You're so beautiful and nice. Why would anybody be that mean to you? He's such a mean person. No. She took him through the ringer. That's why he left. She took him through the mud. Or he was a sleazebag, one of the two. But anyway, I'm at 3,000 people watching, so it's going to cut out soon, I'm sure of. I just had to get that stuff out my chest, man. Somebody said, you need sleep, B. I know I probably look weird because these lights, I don't know for whatever reason why these lights are just so, like, I feel like I got to talk like this because the lights are so bright. I'm not sure why, though. Should they be higher? They used to didn't bother me as much. Let me see. What if I did this? I'm still lit. I mean, that's a little better. Because these lights are just killing me. Maybe I'll bring the blocker just up a little bit more. That actually helped. The light is still here, but that helped that beam from just coming right in my eye. It's a little better. Yeah, it's a little better. Maybe I should put it higher. All right, man. Thank y'all for watching. If you're interested, let me go to the store real quick. We ain't even got the shirts on. Let me tell y'all something real quick. My keyboard don't work, so just go on the website, the Officer Tatum store. We got a new shirt called, definition shirt called Police Officers. And so go on and check it out. I was going to pull it up. I can't pull it up. I almost guarantee you if I put it up now, that brand new shirt, and I probably preemptively did it, but I'm almost sure that brand new shirt is probably not on my front page. Let's see if I'm wrong. Not wrong. The brand new shirt we just launched is not on my front page. Am I wrong? Yeah, it's on the law enforcement side, which I pre-did. So it's not on my front page. But it's okay. Go on there, put police officer in, and when you put police officer in, there's a discount code. It's in the community tab. I forget what the discount code is. Put it in, and we'll go for there. Somebody said, waiting for my book and my shirt. Okay, book comes out November 30th. Your shirt should be to you within a week. Normally it's less than a week, but on the safe side, it should be no more than a week. All right. All right, I love you guys. I appreciate you. One day I'm going to have a chart with my announcements ready to tell to you guys, but I don't have my announcements ready. Because I'm a bad YouTuber right now. I'm going to get it together, though. I'm going to get it all together. One day I'm going to be able to provide y'all the best YouTube experience ever. Right now, I should be ashamed of my YouTube experience. You deserve better. So we're gonna improve. Trust me, we will improve. I love you.